We are live. Welcome to the Renegade podcast. I'm your host, the Dashing Rogue, with my Frank sidekick, Artistic Layman.
Pace yourself.
I don't even think there's any liquor in this. It tastes just like candy.
Last time I said that, I woke up face down under a table.
Damn. I've been there, man.
It's moments like that I wonder if One Piece is for kids.
It really does feel like it. I want to say it feels like Ocean. That sounds the way it sounds. It sounds like it's from Ocean 11 or something with George Clooney in it.
Yeah,
it really has that that professional fucking feel to it. And you know, just keep in mind, I say George Clooney. It could also be as bad as Batman and Robin. It could just as well be fucked up. Oh. Like, can you imagine that if we actually got a good Batman and Robin where they didn't act like it was a fucking 1960s pun fest, but actually they took it seriously? Like, you combine Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight with freaking Batman and Robin costume. If that makes any sense? That'd be a great one.
So none of that Joel Schumacher stuff?
It would be Joel Schumacher, but in name only. But for those of you who want to know, the song that we just played was called "Divine Virus" by Essenture, and it's basically about Roscoe's basilisk, I believe it is. It's a thought experiment. The idea behind it is that in the future there will be a all-knowing, all-sentient, like omnipresent AI basilisk that basically will kill anyone who it'll go back in time and kill anyone who doesn't help it. Is it ethical to help this thing and whatnot?
Well, if it's only going to kill me, I have nothing to be afraid of.
Well, yeah, but it's gonna. The idea is that now that you know about this basilisk, are you going to help it or are you going to fight against it? That's the idea. It's basically like an edgy fucking atheist version of Pascal's wager. That's what it kind of is. So, you know, and the idea is it's supposed to illustrate that they're the meme concept, you know?
Of course, the difference being is that following God actually acquires some sort of greater moral behavior, whereas not doing so is meaningless.
Armored Ghost says, have you two kept up with Cali news? Seems Oakland is really degenerating, becoming Detroit meets Baltimore. I've been keeping up on a lot of this stuff here, and we'll talk about that, because, in fact, we'll get into that right now. He also asks, do people actually trick or treat outside in Arizona, or is it too hot? I think it's probably just... It's nice now, isn't it?
Kids trick or treat all the time.
It's nice, I'd say.
Yes, yeah, I'm looking forward to scaring the kids away at my house again.
Yeah. So let's see, since they decided to talk about California, we're going to talk about California. Here we go.
What is going on in California these days?
What is going on in California? What magic is going on? Okay, here we go. Well, you know, I oftentimes talk about how California, especially the Bay Area, was basically the center of the universe. And we have people from Romania talking about what's going on over there.
So is it like so does that mean it's a God's dumpster center?
The center of the universe?
Yeah, well, before people thought the Earth was the center of the universe because it was a dump of the entire reality.
Oh, so we're going in like a Gnostic sense?
So is it the center of the universe? Is California now the center of the universe in the sense it's the world's dumping ground?
I'd say it's the center of the universe that we're like Rome.
Ah, great.
No, like legitimately, we're like Rome in the sense that we like, you know, it's a kind. I'm not gonna like toot the horn. Like I'm in Arizona. I'm an Arizonan. Well, look at me. I'm an Arizonan now. Yeah.
So,
but in all seriousness, there's a reason why like the Silicon Valley is not going anywhere, and it's because of infrastructure. Shit like May West, you know, internet exchange points and crap like that.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that is not going away, and it's basically like hardwired into the fucking infrastructure of the United States. It's not going anywhere.
You might as well reroute all the rivers and the railroads.
Yep. And that's precisely what it is. It's exactly like railroads.
And here's the art. The video is anti-Semitic art graffiti found in San Francisco's Market Street. So, are they surprised by this or not?
Well, let's play it because I found it very interesting just to see how the mindset of my former countrymen. Countrymen, but that's not fair, is it? My former statesman.
Your
let's
former,
say.
yeah. I mean, technically, federally speaking, is your state or your nation, your country. It's your home country.
Yeah, so the old country, from the old country.
Well, it's my whole old country too. So
That's why I say it's the old country.
mm-hmm.
That-
But ever since this issue started, I was always wondering who's really surprised that the leftists hate Israel. I mean, is anyone surprised by this?
No, they love. Even when I was in freaking community college back in California, they were still helping and saying, "Oh, Palestine's great. Palestine's great." These guys, they just want to be rebels without a cause, and they don't even care about the causes that they're part of.
But they're used to bolster the numbers who believe in these causes, and that's a real problem.
It is.
Let's see, what do we
Play
got
it,
here? Death to Israel graffiti is the first thing we see. But what's the news say?
I disavow, by the way, any assaults or attacks on the Israelis or any. It's just a bad situation. I disavow anything. There you go.
Anti-Semitic graffiti was found in San Francisco after a pro-Palestine rally Saturday. District Attorney Brooke Jenkins tweeted last night saying it is not clear who did it, but...
I mean, and this is off a tangent, but I showed you that little section of Cenk Uygur's book, and one of the things he is shocked about is how conservatives want... Like, he rails and raves about conservatives, and yet for some reason he wants more Muslims in America. Like, but by his definition, Muslims are conservative.
Well, they're the right conservative. Let's just say they're the good conservatives.
Well, I mean,
conservatives.
Because he loosely defines conservatives as psychopaths with no empathy, driven by greed. So, is there a good version of that? Is that just the ones who vote the right way?
Well, isn't that Islam in general, Luke?
Yeah, I guess so.
So, they literally will talk about the only 3 times that a Muslim can lie is when he is talking to his wife in a matter of war or a matter of deception or like civil disputes.
Let's see, death
right?
to Zionism, kill a settler, death to Israel.
Yeah, that kill a settler thing is bullshit. That's a college kid right there. That's their work. You know that's what they're just saying. They're just spewing fucking whatever shit they heard from their professor. Keep playing it, Luke.
It's assumed to have been associated with the protest. That statement did not sit well with protest organizers, and Crowd Force Rob Nesbitt joins us now live with what they are saying tonight. Hi, Rob. DA deleted that tweet today that referred to the weekend rally as, quote, pro-Hamas, after she says she received several concerns from the Muslim and Arab community about how that tweet could be interpreted.
These were the words spray painted across the Bank of America building in San Francisco Saturday, saying things like death to Israel and kill a settler. The graffiti was found after thousands marched down Market Street calling for the freeing.
Hang on, this is on the Bank of America, apparently. So, like, is that like extra anti-Semitic? That's like feeding a pig fucking bacon.
Is it really the old Bank of America that did go under back in the day?
I don't really know, honestly.
Yeah, supposedly,
I don't know.
Like when the original market original market crash happened way in the day, one of the first banks that went under was a Bank of America that just happened to be run by Jews, and all these little coalescing forces made people distrust them, and also the rumors that the banks were going up.
Okay, I never knew that.
Well, that's a little side story, but I've always wondered if they were the same bank, but probably not, because the name Bank of America always gave it like a veneer of legitimacy, a kind of superficial veneer of legitimacy, like Federal Express does for the for certain mailing services. Yeah,
I honestly, I actually thought the Bank of America was a legitimate bank that was like actually ran by America.
But this can't be good. Like, apparently, so the graffiti was found after the protests. Was that what they said?
After thousands marched down Market Street calling for the freeing of Palestinians along the Gaza Strip, where Israel has been at war with the terrorist group Hamas for more than a week.
Free? But they were free. They attacked.
For more than a week, dude. We've been at war with them for more than a week.
Well, Israel has, but
yeah, Hamas need to go.
Yeah.
Does the pro-Palestinian side have to wear have mask wearers? Dude, I think even when I got out, like, they were taking off the masks when I got out. So, I'm not going back because I already know there are too many people who would fucking comply.
Mm.
To be honest with you, that's what it's like in the frickin' Shire, because that's kind of where Where I lived, it was the Shire, essentially.
With the Arab Resource Organizing Center was in the crowd protesters.
There's a genocide happening in Gaza right now. The over 1,000 children.
Which genocide? Is Hamas a race now?
Don't you know? Well, if my made up gender in my head is a race, then therefore yes, yes, I identify as Islamo-gender.
Yeah,
I'm
not giving them that.
Islamo-gender.
I'm not giving that credit anymore. No, sir.
I sexually identify as Muhammad the Prophet. There you go. I sexually identify as Muhammad the Prophet.
2,700 civilians have been confirmed killed by the Israeli military.
District Attorney Brooke Jenkins tweeted about the graffiti Sunday night, saying her office assumed the person responsible was associated with the pro-Palestine rally. That did not sit well with Ariel Corinne, with the group Jewish Voices for Peace, and who attended Saturday's protest in solidarity with Palestinians.
Oh, so the whole thing is that graffiti doesn't represent us.
Just hear her out. Hear her out.
She put out, it incites Islamophobia. It's inherently Islamophobic. It's also anti-Semitic because she's telling lies about the Jewish community when thousands of us as Jewish people were a part of that protest.
The DA deleted her original post from social media Monday after hearing from organizers of the protest, saying, quote, "I listened and understand their concerns and as a result deleted the tweet. I do not support violence. The clearly anti-Semitic graffiti has no place in SF, and we must be mindful that a person who chooses to engage in hateful acts is not representative of an entire community or
Sure, it's not.
No, but like, it gets more interesting, dude. Just keep going.
Does it?
Vilify our peace march as anything but a peace march is extremely reckless right now. We consider it an incitation to violence.
District Attorney Jenkins also acknowledged how the
Yeah, that's not how incitation to violence works. That's not how incitement to violence works.
No, it doesn't. But it's what happens is someone tries to go over the top, and then they all start playing the victim on each other.
So they were okay with the graffiti. They weren't okay with the DA pointing it out.
Yeah.
It's a very wonderful distinction.
Yep.
graffiti has the potential to lead to retaliation or an escalation in hateful conduct against the Jewish community. President of the Jewish Community Relations Council Bay Area, Tyler Gregory, says he believes the graffiti did come from Saturday's protest, but that not all protesters from Saturday should be thought of as a monolith.
Palestinians should not be equated with terrorism.
So I shouldn't care about anything they say because they don't speak on behalf of the Palestinians.
Yeah, it's the old hiding the individual actions within the collective, and then say, "Oh, well, we're not all, gun owners, or we're not all, pedophiles. We're not all, If you get a big enough population, you will find find people who have commonalities. This is one of those Hitler's drinks water, therefore,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the inverse of that. Like, because at least when it went to right wing, quote right wing rally, the worst smaller elements, the minority elements are the worst of it gets elevated. Here, the worst elements, minority elements, get ignored.
Yeah, I could see that.
The form of Islamophobia, that we saw after 9/11.
Yeah, nothing came of that. Remember?
Yeah.
Just letting more and more of them in and pretending that Islam is not a genuine existential threat to the human race, like they always have been.
Dude, they're literally the fucking monkeys trying to take the wheel of our civilization. It's fucking sad. It's disgusting.
Real monkeys are not that evil, though.
Well, they're more like Toonsis the cat. They're trying to drive us off a cliff. Poor cats.
District Attorney Jenkins said today that her office is committed to ensuring the safety of all communities and that anyone caught committing a hate crime will be held accountable. Reporting in the newsroom, I'm Rob Nesbitt, Cron 4.
Press X to doubt.
Press X to fucking doubt.
I mean, it's so surreal. It's like, now that this happened, the Ukraine, Russia, China, they've all been pushed to the wayside, but we all know how this is going to go. We know Israel will be attacked, they retaliate, and all of a sudden we're supposed to be sympathetic to Hamas and the Palestinians.
No. Fucking mow them down. Wipe them out. Like, honestly, I don't care anymore about the shit that these Palestinians and shit do. I don't care. Leave.
Make a new country. I know none of the Arab countries want you because apparently I didn't know this, but apparently all the other Arab countries have slurs for Palestinians, like they're considered the runts of the entire ethnic community. But you can make your own country. Cooperate with Israel to make a new land for yourselves. They can work with that.
So basically, they're the Muslims that failed.
But I mean, realistically, when you think about it, the only reason they keep them there is so they can have an excuse to destroy Israel. That's really all the Palestinians are there for.
They're just human shields. They're literally golems.
Ugh.
And that's I'm going full Zionist, aren't I? Fuck, son of a bitch.
Here you go. It's hard not to when the choices are given before you.
I
once summarized the Middle Eastern problem like this situation like this. You have a group of people, and I apologize if this analogy offends anyone. You have two groups of people in the Middle East. One's anti-Arab, the other one's anti-Jew. The group that's anti-Jew is also anti-American. Guess which one we're siding with?
Yep, exactly. And at the same time, we need a nice port in the Suez Canal area.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be able to make sure our shit gets through and that everyone's shit gets through and nobody tries to hold the world hostage.
The Muslims hold the world hostage.
They'll make us so you can't get your anime waifu pillows anymore. They have to go through a long journey across the Horn of Africa because they don't want that degenerate shit, even if you want it, right? So here's an example of more Californian shenanigans. California homeowners now allowed to sell ADUs.
My mind's a blank. What is an ADU?
Well, let's look that up. Play it.
Let's see. What is this?
I'm sure they're going to tell us, by the way.
Let's see. What is this?
Of new laws designed to help create more housing in California. One actually allows homeowners to sell ADUs, also known as in-law units, that are on their property. But how will that work? Investigative reporter Hilda Gutierrez joins us now with some answers. Hilda.
Yeah, what is an ADU? Wait. What is an ADU? Let me just look this up here. An ADU is
portable
what?
ADU.
Accessory dwelling unit.
ADU.
Wait, they can sell. So they're gonna sell portions of their small. It's like a shed house on their property that they can sell.
Yep, they're gonna. Sorry, millennials. Sorry, fucking people who are staying home with their parents.
So, in other words, we're not gonna make new properties. We're just gonna turn the crummier properties on the smaller properties into other properties. Like, oh yeah, that solves homelessness.
Yeah, so basically they're going to make it so that they can sell, but they'll also probably have to pay a property tax.
So it's a way of giving more homes without diminishing property values. It's like, great. Well, just build more houses. Arizona's building houses like crazy. We can't build them fast enough.
Dude, I'm telling you, Arizona's growing like a fucking madman out here. But this place, like, they're literally having to do pieces of eights and shit. Like, chopping up their property like pieces of eight.
Did I tell you about the last house I used to live in back when I was still living in California?
No, you did not. Tell me.
Basically, it was a house, but the owner was he sectioned the inside of the house into cubicles, and he rented the cubicle to a bunch of people.
Armored Ghost. The cost of shed in California equals $500,000. Wrong. Incorrect.
What?
It's probably about at least $2 million. And the reason why is that, I only say this as somebody who knows better. In California, there was a listing, you can look this up, I believe it's in the Bay Area, specifically for a burnt down house. It was $500,000 because of the land. So
that's how much the land is worth.
Yep. So you're saying a shed, and I'm thinking a shed that's like something that would be like a extra home that I'd have my son-in-law live in when he fails at life or some shit, right? And it's all fully furnished and whatnot. That's probably worth more than a burnt down house that you can't live in. So you gotta start using that Californian mindset, the innovative Californian progressive mindset. Keep going, Luke.
Yes, ADUs are often converted garages or a separate small building behind a larger home. Under the new law, owners of those properties can sell the attached or separate housing units, applying the same rules as selling a condo. For example, the main home, an ADU, will have 2 different property taxes and get separate utility bills for water, sewer, gas, and electricity. Each property might also have to form a homeowners association.
What?
What the fuck is this?
You've got to be a home association for portable homes on other property. You You can't make this stuff up. This is like bizarro world level of politics.
You know what's sad is that my friend has his parents have one of these things, so now it's gonna affect them.
So
yeah.
Oh, so that's how they're actually importing these smaller properties onto their bigger properties and renting. They're not renting them out. They're selling them, right?
Yeah, they're
so is the bank involved? What? How does it work?
They could sell them, and then they basically, I guess, have to pay home. I guess
the property owner, or
I guess pay the property owner. Yeah. So like if let's say I wanted to move in to my old friend's place that has one of these things, I would probably have to get paid a separate bill for power, a separate bill for, I want to say, internet. I would say another bill for, for water and garbage and a bunch of other crap, right? So now they're dinging you twice, essentially. They're basically saying you have to acknowledge that this particular piece of property is, its own people, so it has to have its own garbage, has to have its own, power connected to it, so that way your parents can't shut you off, right?
Mm-hmm.
In case if you don't pay your rent or something. You're a homeowner now, or you're a freaking renter, and therefore you have the homeowners association, so you can actually associate against your fucking parents, don't you know? That's what that is. This is like
that's used to maintain shared space, such as a driveway, a pool, or a common roof. The State Housing Department reports that 1 in every 5 new housing units built in the state today is an ADU. Check out how many were just...
That looks like a more slightly improved homeless shelter.
Luke, can you answer this question? Does Arizona require recycling?
Require recycling?
Yeah, so like if I were to throw away my cans of White Claw right now, and I just throw it in the garbage, or do I have my own recycle cans?
Do you have a recycle? Well, I have a recycle bin.
Okay.
So, do you have a recycle bin where you are?
I have a trash bin. I don't have a recycle bin. No.
So I guess you don't.
Well, I mean, I don't. I guess I don't recycle. Yeah.
Oh well, my neighborhood. In the meantime, my neighborhood properties are growing up all over the place.
Jeez. Right on.
Added to homes in the Bay Area or are in the process of being added. We looked up ADU applications by county and found Santa Clara had the most with over 2,200 ADU applications in 1 year, followed by Alameda and San Mateo County. San Francisco Assembly member Phil Ting, who drafted the legislation, says this will give more people home ownership opportunities.
Oh my God!
On someone else's property.
Oh my God! This is like class war. No, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna turn these things and they're gonna give them to fucking refugees.
Oh.
And then you're gonna have, like, let's say some fucking you're gonna have some Mujahideen show up and a water vampire fucker, get hots with your daughter. He's like, well, I'm a homeowner. I'm like, no, fuck you. That's only in writing only. You're literally living in the back, my back patio fucking house or whatever. That's what's gonna happen. Like, legitimately, you're gonna have people who are going to use this, like, the politics of this, because this is all politics. Like, it makes no sense for them to be on different grids for power, and that's gonna take a bunch of rewiring and shit like that. In some cases, internet access and cable access. You have to make a new line for that, right? If they're going to be on two different bills, you're basically making people have to split up that fucking part of the internet, and part of the cable, so to speak. So that's new infrastructure has to be built. Then of course, you have to have multiple recycle bins, right? Multiple trash bins for each different person at their fucking place. And this is just one house. Let's suppose you're renting a room, and that one house in the back. Like, legitimately, this is stupid. Right. This is fucking stupid. Keep going.
It increases the number of housing units throughout the state because ADUs are smaller and because you oftentimes share that property with another neighbor. They come a little bit cheaper, so they're cheaper to rent. They're also cheaper to purchase should they be sold.
Just build more houses, dang it!
They can't. Zoning laws.
To get rid of the zoning laws.
Well, then they won't be. Then they'll basically just become the sprawl from fucking from Cyberpunk or Night City.
We sprawl. It's doing fine by us.
You know, to be frank with you, that is the correct response. It really is, honestly. You know, one of the reasons I love Arizona so much, and Phoenix specifically, is because this place is so vast. Like it's like 10 times bigger than fucking Silicon Valley, Santa Clara Valley.
Yeah, despite all our efforts to try to grow more buildings, we'll never be able to cover all the desert.
Yeah, they won't, and it'll just keep building and building and building, and things will get better and better. The only thing we have to do is solve for resources, and we're very good at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, water was always a problem, so we just have to figure out more cleaner sources of water.
Yeah, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if California got shit together, we could make a canal from the ocean to the fucking all the way in. We could literally make a canal into Arizona, and we could have our own ports. It'd be beautiful.
Oh, I remember this video article about how California can't make enough electricity, so they're making an agreement with Colorado to turn their windy area into a wind farm.
Yeah, which would be great. You know, I will say this though, Colorado gets cold up there, right? So, you know, one of the things about wind farms, they freeze.
Oh wait,
you know?
I thought it was oh well, there's a certain spot that blows so hard it actually the wind's so strong it actually tips trucks over.
I have not found Rambo's house yet. I don't know what Rambo's house looks like.
What is a Rambo?
What is a Rambo?
Yeah.
I think he's referring to fucking. I don't know. What are you referring to Armored Ghost? I have to look into that. Rambo.
Is that some sort of another celebrity I'm not aware of?
John Rambo. You don't know who Rambo is?
Oh no, I thought it was someone else. Like that.
Well,
that Rambo?
I imagine. Yeah, Rambo First Blood Rambo.
Oh cool. Oh cool. He lives out here.
Wait a sec. Wait. Does Rambo live out here?
I've never heard
Maybe
that one.
Maybe he does. I know Rob Schneider and fucking if Rob Schneider lives out here. Frankie Muniz lives out here. If fucking Sylvester Stallone lives out here, because I know that apparently hell's his name Alice Cooper is from Arizona, and I like Alice Cooper. Of all the fucking weirdos that are in rock music, he's one of the funnest to be around, I'd imagine. Anyhow, let's keep going, Luke.
Now, this is important. The new law allows local cities to allow the buying and selling of ADUs, so they have to opt in. Ting says ADUs are already being sold separately, sometimes for up to 30% of the entire home value in states like Seattle, Oregon, and Texas. With the investigative unit, I'm Hilda Gutierrez. Back.
Okay. I mean, if California wants to do it, they're free to do it, but I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. It's just going to destroy the value of your house and make things complicated.
Yeah.
But then they'll force you to do it, right? They will literally force you to do this shit. Let's see what else we got here on our list. Okay, so here's one for you. Ben Key. What are your thoughts? Do you know about this whole Daily Wire basically trying to get into kids' entertainment?
I thought they did that already with other streaming services, but now they've made the official name for it. Here we go.
Dick Productions.
What? What?
Bet Dick. I just have a fucking feeling there's going to be a scandal of some shit.
Although I
said this.
I kind of recognize some of the material. I know for a fact some of it was made by Mormons.
The Mormons are going to be the new Jews. You know that, right? They kind of are.
They're too whites. They can't qualify as Jews.
No, but I mean, like, they're gonna be like everything you apply to, like, that Jewish family has a really nice fucking property. Oh, they're fiscally conservative. Oh, they're treating their kids right. The Mormons are gonna be the same thing.
Didn't South Park have a joke about that?
They have a lot, dude. That's been around since I was a kid. You gotta be more specific.
Joseph
I don't know
Smith,
which
he
one.
was a prophet. Dum 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 dum.
Maybe he was. I don't know.
They're such good neighbors, apparently.
The Daily Wire announced that we would spend $100 million over 3 years to begin our own kids' entertainment company. I'm proud to announce the launch of Bent Key, an entirely new company from the Daily Wire.
$100,000. How much money did they say?
Burger King. 100,000. Go back. I want to hear it. That's Burger King. That's not Benke. That's Burger
Begin our own
King.
kids entertainment company. Spend $100 million over.
$100 million, eh?
These guys are fucking. These guys are just failed Hollywood actors. I really do believe that. I really do believe that the fact that these guys are trying to build. They're trying to make stuff that like entertainment. I'm like, why do we need entertainment? Why can't you just write something, then go and try to go through the proper channels? Oh, it's too conservative. Well, what the fuck? Well, why don't you stop wearing your shit on your politics on your fucking sleeve?
If it's not conservative enough, it's not woke enough. That's be the problem. Because if they have like sustainable goals or some ISG score, they would have to make it more brunchy.
Yeah, you're right. These are the type of people like, you know what, Mr. Scott, I love your plot for Alien, but I'd really like it if you made Ellen Ripley a lesbian. I think it would be very progressive if she was a lesbian working on a star freighter.
A deep Frenching kiss on the second scene.
Oh! It would also, I also don't like the idea that if she could capture the alien and make sure that it doesn't get killed. So like a non-lethal way, preferably. That way, it's a bit xenophobic along with transphobic. Let's just say. Anyhow, let's keep going.
But anyway, for the record, that's over $33 million every year. That's a lot of money. Makes you wonder where they get it. Makes you wonder where they got it all from.
Again, I just don't trust any of these guys from Daily Wire. I don't trust them. I'm sorry,
3
man.
years to begin our own kids entertainment company. I'm proud to announce the launch of Bent Key, an entirely new company from the Daily Wire, a company dedicated to creating the next generation of timeless stories that transport kids into a world of adventure, imagination, and joy. Why the name Bent Key, and why not DW Kids, as we've been calling the initiative for the last year? Well, put simply, DW Kids is just too political. Bent Key isn't about teaching kids politics. It's about childhood and wonder and adventure. It's about values and all of the things on which politics are built later. We didn't just come up with a new name, though. We built an entirely new app that's available on all the most popular devices. There are over 100 episodes available right now today on the Bent Key app, and there will be new episodes released every single Saturday morning. That's right.
Oh, Sesame Street stuff.
Right.
We're bringing back Saturday morning cartoons. Here's a preview.
Hi, you made it.
Oh, hello.
Wanna play?
I've seen enough. These two are ready.
Ready or not, here we go.
Now, I don't think any of these samples are Mormons, but I'm waiting for them to pop up.
Oh boy.
Please keep your arms and legs inside the cart at all times.
So basically, this is Nick Jr.
They're based, yeah. It's their version of Nick Jr. I mean, they have frickin', I guess, Bear in the Big Blue House. They have, I don't know.
It's the adventure. Oh, what's this stuff?
Bill Nye the Science Guy, maybe?
Maybe.
Minus circa 1990s Bill Nye, I should say.
Your arms and legs inside the cart at all times. Hurry up, the party's starting soon. Yeah, follow me. Where's he going? We're going on a treasure hunt. We're exploring the wild world yonder.
It's chiller time.
I have to wonder how much has been pre-made and how much has been recycled, because that's a lot of material just pop up over this course of the year.
Yeah, honestly, what they're just trying to find, stuff they can sell and pawn off as conservative. Conservative at this point is a fucking brand for these people.
But for all I know, there's a lot more people out there that can make these resources. So yeah, maybe they're all a bunch of outwork actors who found a way to congeal their resources together.
I mean, look at fucking Schneider, right? Rob Schneider. I keep saying Rob Schneider's so fucking badass because he's in fucking he is disproportionately more badass than you think he would be. He's not. He's he probably left Hollywood because he's fucking typecast all the time. It's a good paycheck though.
Pretty incredible. It's unbelievable.
That show looks actually pretty cool. The medieval show.
Yeah, but something tells me that it's gonna be it's not gonna be pagan or anything like that. It's gonna just weird.
My biggest concern is just gonna be too slow, because the problem with even visually beautiful shows have to be slowed down for the kids.
Oh,
it's unbelievable.
Whether big or little or big.
That is Sesame Street right there. That is Sesame Street.
Oh Christ.
We all have fabulous adventures together.
Wow! It's time to head off for adventure. Look around you. Oh, it is a big
From Solo.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
Wait, was it
Foster's home.
Wait, what? Oh,
Yeah,
kinda. Well, sort of.
Foster's fucking home. What?
Imagine this.
Problem glasses lady.
All I see is adventure.
And download the new app, and here's what you'll find. Over the last year, we've produced 4 original series that we're calling Bent Key Adventures. The first one is called A Wonderful Day with Mabel McClay. And it's about a wonderful character named Mabel and her trusty sidekick Jasper, her pup. And they get into all kinds of adventures. They sing songs, they read books, they build gadgets.
Did you see it, Luke?
Puppets are for Blue's Clues.
Puppets are for... Yeah, but did you see it?
See what?
Back up a bit.
Back up where?
It's right in... I'd say right around here where they... There's a photo of a fucking army guy.
Let me see.
Just...
No, there it is.
Yeah, there we go. You can tell they're trying to go for like a Amelia Earhart sort of spiel. Like a Midwest Oklahoma. I would be surprised if she is from fucking Oklahoma, to be quite frank with you. I don't know.
Rural America, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Which just gives the idea of who this is targeted towards. Because if you
too many shows are set in the city, so it would be nice to have it in the country.
No, I think it would be interesting also, but you have to remember something that I've talked about this before, and this is more of a. I'm not saying that Daily Wire is openly hostile towards rural America or anybody else, so I don't want people to get that impression. But they're selling to a brand. They're playing to a type, and one of the things you got to understand is that the right can't encrypt. So this is good for like people who like would be the same people who get VeggieTales, let's say.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the type of graphic they're pushing towards. So anyhow, let's get to the end of it because I want to speed some things up here.
Let's see. Let's Chipla.
Chilla, the first show we ever announced for the platform. Now,
I do remember them advertising this.
Yeah. Chilla is about a family of chinchillas who homeschool, a mom and a dad who create a world of excitement where little Chip and Charla and baby Chubbly discover everything from world history to classic books and how to care for others. It's a celebration of a deeply loving family that has a blast learning all of it.
If it's not as well written as Bluey, I don't care.
Well, let me just say this: the fact that it's supposed to be about a family that's teaching people. This is actually I would be behind. I'd back that because if they're teaching,
it could be a good example of how to homeschool your kids and for homeschooling families.
Well, I wouldn't even just say that. I think the kids would replicate and say, "Dad, why won't you teach me this? Why won't?" Or Mom, they're literally going to force the kids to engage. I do believe that will be the one thing that will come out of that, which is good, honestly.
All right.
Let's skip ahead a bit.
Then there's Kid Fit Go, a dynamic and exciting take on fitness.
Exercise hour. See, and then Kid Explorer.
Kid Explorer, Broadcast Cal explores the people and events that have shaped the modern world in an accessible way for kids of all ages, using humor and animation and costumes.
Oh, just so Invention Hour.
Basically.
Shows. So will your kids. While that's a lot of original content for a brand new studio, we wanted to make sure that our offering was robust and that kids had even more to enjoy. So we built a team to curate content from all around the world that we would trust our kids with. It's taken tens of millions of dollars to get us here and countless hours from our entire team. But we're just getting started. And like all for-profit endeavors, we'll only be able to continue if you find value in the offering and buy it. Many of you already have.
They're going to do PBS telethons. They're going to do PBS telethons. You fucking watch. Not even joking. Like these guys would be the type of people who would think that shit's still fucking cool. I mean, fuck, telethons were a thing in my mom's fucking day. All right, I do believe they will do that type of shit if this stuff gets on hard times. Keep going.
You've been with us for years, or even those who joined us recently. Thank you. This wouldn't be possible without your support.
Oh, he's wearing a bent key around his neck.
He's part of the cult, Luke.
And now, with your annual membership to Daily Wire Plus, you'll also get access to the entire world of BentKey for no extra charge. Just download the BentKey app and use the same Daily Wire Plus login that you already use, and your family can start enjoying all this brand new content right now.
Gee, I wonder what would happen if the Daily Wire were to be hacked or some shit like that. I'm not saying that it would, or I would, hope that to happen, but we've already established the right can't encrypt. Does the Daily Wire allow for two-factor authentication? That's what I want to know. I really don't know if it does or not, because I'd imagine the app, you could have two-factor authentication, because if they don't have this stuff and they're trying to expand into children's entertainment, there's so much shit that rightfully so should be shit tested. Because, God forbid that, somebody hack in and then they replace Peppa Pig with fucking, Tub Girl or something.
Oh, no.
No, legitimate actual, corporate sabotage and vandalism.
Oh, boy.
I'm not suggesting that that happened to them. I mean, let's be frank with ourselves. That is a phenomenon, especially since it can be ideologically motivated. So, they already have a target on their back because they're playing the conservative card, even though conservative just doesn't mean shit. And honestly, you'd have to ask the person what they mean by conservative. But, honestly, it means nothing. It's just a brand. That's how I see it. Liberal is a brand too. I'm liberal on guns. What does it mean to liberal on guns? I want more of them. There you go.
Hack Finke and show Batman the Animated Series so these kids can see real cartoons. Yes, Fleckoff. Yes, I agree.
There you go. There you go. I agree. And
Although, it might be difficult to get Fox to hand that over.
Who gives a shit? Well, there's the other thing. Let's suppose you actually did do that, right? Not saying you should, but let's say you did do that. They would be hit with so many fucking fines and fees. There's the assumption that they were cyber attacked, right? Well, that could be bullshit cover. You give a disgruntled employee who wants to show the kid's fucking Watership Down, and see how they really react.
Wow. Although there was a more safer version, CGI version that was made recently, so it depends on which one. So I'm guessing the 2D one.
Oh my god! They literally went back and censored War. We gotta get.
Oh no, they didn't censor it. They just made it not as obviously bloody because 3D models are a little safer than 2D models.
What the? I'd have to look at that. That's something I actually have to look into. Let's keep going.
For just $99 a year. That's $99 to help us build the future we all want to see. $99 to build an alternative that we can trust. $99 for great content that your kids will love to watch.
So is this on top of the Daily Wire feed or is this separate?
No, I think it's on top of the Daily Wire fee. So you're basically paying $99. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, why don't you just network and go with Hulu, work with Hulu or something like that. That way you can get access to this crap. Because I'll be frank with you. We're seeing the consolidation of media, not just alternative media, but media in general, and it's all going digital. So at some point, these guys are going to play. I don't know. Just keep going. I'm drunk.
You can get BentKey now at bentkey.com or download our app just about anywhere.
Oh yeah, and they're pitching a Snow White's take.
Oh, dude, this is the ultimate. I will say this. Thank God for this bitch, because I know she looks like she's female Ben Shapiro. She does. She looks like female.
She does.
Trend.
For what I saw, I thought it was Ben's sister for a moment.
I don't know who she is. I know that she's some. I literally have never seen her. I'm not. She's before. I guess after my time.
I mean,
I don't fucking know.
I think I might have seen her referenced once before, but otherwise no.
I don't know who she is, but I'll tell you this. A lot of these conservative thoughts are going to get into Hollywood. I fucking care. No, the Daily Wire pipeline is a fucking real thing. You will see, whether it be Lauren Chen basically playing Mulan, the actual Mulan. No, I do not predict that. God, don't. No. Or, God help you, fucking Lauren Southern. I don't know. What would Lauren Southern play? I don't know. Maybe the actual Sleeping Beauty, because she was fucked in court, I don't know. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep moving on here. Because I'll tell you this, I do believe that a lot of this conservative shit is just people who were kicked out of Hollywood for one reason or another. But besides that, we're going to move on to something else here. Here we go, Luke.
Let's see if...
There. Part 2 is arrived.
Batman!
That is what... Yeah. I am vengeance, I am the night. Well, apparently not, because where we're going, we won't see anything, because where we're going, we won't need eyes, Luke.
No? What's that mean?
No, just click what I sent you.
It's part 2. Here we go.
Part 2. I can't believe this is not heresy, volume 2. Let's go.
Why is humanity so sinful? Oh, okay, so we know the biblical answer, but what's the spirit science answer?
This is the fucking spirit science consensus right now.
Here we go.
Patchman, you stand accused of being a sinner. How do you plead?
I don't know. Your Honor, as Patchman's attorney, I would like to make the case that Patch, as an expression of...
Is that Jesus?
That's not Jesus. That's like some fucking Kingdom Hearts character who somehow is representing him. I don't know who that is, honestly. It's not Jesus, though.
So was that little figurine on the table just a figurine right there?
No. Well, actually, you know what? I don't know what they're going to say because I haven't seen it, but look where he's on the right hand of God on a throne.
But that's supposed to be the lawyer. That's Jesus. He's supposed to be the lawyer, not this thing. Who is this thing?
This thing
for
looks...
everyone, instead of just being himself. He simply forgot who he was, and given the opportunity to remember, I know he could live purified and whole once more.
Did he just make the argument of reincarnation?
No, he made the argument that you could self-master yourself out of sin.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Patchman, for you to become purified and whole, you must sacrifice yourself.
Yeah, kill yourself.
What?
What? This is it. The end for me. All of my effort was for nothing. I just wanted humanity to live in peace, wisdom, and harmony together. But now I have to go away and say goodbye to everyone. Spirit science will disappear, and that will be that. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry, God. I failed to live up to my purpose.
But God told you to do this, right?
You fulfilled your destiny, but you fulfilled your purpose. You gotta use your gnosis of neurosis, dude.
No, Patch, not your higher self, but your lower self. Your impurities are found within your personality, and with too much ego, your message is distorted. Sacrifice the lower parts of your ego, your desire to be liked and please others, especially those who would attack you.
How dare he have Jesus say this?
This is... Okay, so Jesus knows about the higher selves and lower selves and all this other shit?
I mean, this is as dumb as Satan going to heaven, asking God for advice, and God's telling him, that's why I'm a Buddhist.
Jesus Christ. And all his enemies are like fucking chaos warriors, red people who are color-coded for our convenience, and fucking gingers.
Honestly, it would be more preferable if it turns out that God and Satan really are best buddies just playing a game with us. Do you remember? You ever heard of it? There's a show called Tipping the Rift.
Oh yeah, I remember that fucking show. That was pretty good.
And that episode of The Devil vs. Satan. We're trying to do the opposite of each other, and God wins, of course, but he has the best catch line. Victory is mine, thus saith the Lord. Even though he led him to sin, which is...
Oh. Fuck.
But no, we're gonna listen to this now.
Here, pull the logs out of your eyes, and the truth will set you free.
We don't need...
Sword?
We don't need eyes where we're going, Luke.
Oh no! Oh no!
You did that. Okay, so just like...
Wait, his pupils are...
What did he have at horizon, buddy?
Wait, did he lose his pupils? Did he lose his eyes? What happened?
You're bringing science into this!
I remember. It's about truth.
His mouth is gone too!
He has no mouth and he must scream.
Oh dear.
Life.
So how is he still talking?
He's using telekinetics.
For humanity once more. Now go and teach people the true nature of sin and what redemption through Christ really means.
Oh no!
The year of our, everyone, it's the year of our Lord 2023, and we're finally going to find out what the true meaning of sin is.
You know, all the motherfuckers prior to us, they didn't know fuck all. The spirit science gray alien's gonna tell us what's what.
Hey Jordan, I'm me again.
Hey, looking good.
And Jordan.
Wait, Jordan? Jordan who?
Jordan Belfort? Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he stole that from fucking Evangelion.
Oh no.
Oh, this whole coming Evangelion.
To sacrifice a king. Huh.
To sacrifice. Maybe he. You know what? Maybe he's slowly getting there. Maybe he's figuring it out.
Maybe,
you know?
but I'm not putting my hopes up.
Well, first off, maybe he's like. There's a very good chance of that because like when people first convert to Christianity, they're usually on fire for the Lord. So they have, in that time, they have like newbie gains when it comes to knowledge and wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've seen it before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like you have the people who fire on the Lord and they start reading the entire Bible.
Yeah, I was
like
there.
Marathon. There you go. Here's hoping.
Jesus is sometimes known as the perfect sacrifice and the unblemished lamb, and such titles, many believe, speak to his sacrificial and redemptive nature. But in order to make sense of these titles, we must comprehend the need for redemption, which comes from the presence of something called sin. And to understand sin, we must also bring consideration to the soul and the body of consciousness.
But wait, the first ones are in the Bible, the other one you're just making up, a New Age nonsense.
So I have to ask you this question: is lying a sin? What does sexual sin look like? Could you elaborate, please?
Maybe he'll tell us. Maybe this is a midichlorians. Sins are midichlorians or something.
Oh God, help us! No.
Soul is a microcosm of spirit. It is an ever-present light in the human body which guides us from within through our discriminative intelligence and intuitive conscience.
An ever-present light in the body given to us from within through discriminative intelligence and intuitive consciousness. What?
Adjective. Adjectives, Luke. Adjectives.
Uh-huh.
But all too often, our desirable habits and whims refuse to follow that higher instruction. Tempted by lower forces, that which may be common.
Just read Jonathan Edwards' Freedom of the Will. It makes more sense.
Triumph of it.
Satan, humans often choose actions that obliterate the inner light, and these actions are known as sin. The word sin originally derives from an ancient archery term, which means to miss the mark. And just like in archery, wherein one can miss the mark by only a tiny bit, or by a long shot, so in the same way, sin must be understood as a spectrum within which one may tarnish their body of consciousness.
So we start off neutral, then we choose to be evil. Or is it start off good, and then choose to be evil, and then evil extinguishes the goodness?
I'm like, here's where you and I are, where the pagan starts to, you know, I told you about this before. The pagan will try to, you know, get us to like disagree and shit. What he's not wrong. As a Catholic, there is a concept of, you know, different sins that are willfully committed. That's like a mortal sin, and you know that it's wrong to kill a fucking baby, right? Yeah, and you do it anyway. It's a mortal sin. If let's say, oh, you sin because you failed the mark, let's say. That is true. There are different types of sin. There's venial sins, and then there's mortal sins, and there's the original sin, and among others. All right? I'm not going to get out the freaking... I'm not going to go too deep into this, because I'll tell you this. He doesn't deserve me to go this deep into it. He hasn't earned it yet. But I will say this, though. I'm kind of lacking in that regard when it comes to sin, so that's something I actually have to brush up on. Let's keep going, though.
Well, I mean, of course, as a Catholic, you're talking about the sacramental system.
Yeah, the different types of sins that exist. The idea that let's say, oh, I fell short, I forgot, but I didn't mean to do it. Like, I legitimately was late because I forgot our date, let's say.
Yeah, and here's a good illustrate. Here's a good little video that might illustrate what it looks like.
Okay, yeah, it's a Venn diagram, Luke. It's a fucking diagram of like a choose your own adventure.
Well, technically it's more like a line, state of grace, and these are the parts of it: your birth, your penance, your sin, and heaven and purgatory.
We're not gonna Lutheran Reformer. We're not gonna get too deep into this. I want to focus primarily on the pagan, please.
It can be said that there are degrees of sin, as there are lesser and greater.
But then again, the whole notion of mortal sin, lesser sins, are in the Catholic system because he's kind of borrowing a lot from Catholicism at this point.
Turning into Spawn. Holy shit.
What?
In the world, if a child lied to their parents about their grades because they were ashamed, That would be a minor sin in comparison to...
No.
What Judas
Wait.
did.
What Judas did.
Oh, fuck you! No, fuck you! You're not even in the same ballpark, let alone in the same... Like, that's like the equivalent of saying, you know, the person who carried the fucking orders to kill a bunch of Indians in Wounded Knee is the same person who dropped the fucking bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's not. No. Like, the betrayal of Judas, or the betrayal by Judas Iscariot, none of us can fucking fathom it and understand that it was sinful, but I don't know how fucked up it is. I mean, you know, we're getting into like the Megadeth territory when it comes to sin, okay? At that point, we're only in hypotheticals. We're like using like scientific notation for how bad sin is at that point.
So I guess,
but lying to a child, and then lying as a child because he's frightened of being persecuted, is one thing. But then comparing that at the very, very far end of the spectrum of Judas Iscariot, no.
It also really depends what you're lying to the child about. Like, are you lying about Santa Claus?
Yeah. Or a child lying because I'm ashamed of, if I get caught, I'll be I'm ashamed of that. No, that's not this. No.
I mean, unless if we break down Judas Iscariot's betrayal as betraying an innocent man to be killed for financial gain, that could be a horrible thing.
Yeah, it could be, absolutely. But then there's the difference between lying and something. I don't know. Just keep playing. Let the fucking
Now, the Creator made all humans as spiritual beings. We are souls endowed with an individualization of the ultimate divine nature, and evolving from the supreme oneness, the soul was bestowed with the instruments of a body and a mind.
Wait a minute.
Of the ultimate divine nature, and evolving from the supreme oneness, the soul was bestowed with the instruments of a body and a mind.
And evolving from the divine oneness? Is this like Gnostic?
This is Gnostic, yeah. Yep. I told you, Luke. We never disappoint.
I mean, they're everywhere.
They're
everywhere.
And interact with the materially manifest
cockroaches.
And these mental and physical instruments that we possess are held in existence by specific...
Although it could be hermeticism, but that's for a little distinction with a little difference.
It's spirit science, dude. You can have both.
Of God's creative power. If human beings live in perfect harmony with the workings of the cosmic principles, they remain spiritual beings in charge of their bodies and minds. Sin is that which compromises perfect self-mastery. It has its automatic negative effect to the degree of the influence of delusion.
He's crunked. But he's fucking crunked.
But this guy's just not balanced. If he balances evil, he can do a lot of horrible things. Like, if you live by the philosophy, every man for himself and the devil take the hindmost, you're not going to destroy yourself.
You'll destroy your perceived ego, Luke, don't you know?
I'm in perfect control of my ego.
There you go.
Sin. A person's free will actions simply harmonize and strengthen the expressed essence of his soul perfection, or weaken and degrade it into enslavement.
These LGBT spawn.
As we explored in our God Explained episode, God is sometimes understood as the laws of creation itself, and one such law that is responsible for the measure and judgment of sin is the law of cause and effect, known often in Eastern spiritual traditions as karma.
Yeah, this is a Gnostic principle right here.
You reap what you sow is in the Bible. There is an argument, an idea of cause and effect at its core base is in the Bible. It does exist.
Well, not karma.
Here's the problem. What do you mean by karma? Are we talking about the idea that your actions will lift you up or push you down? Spiritually, no. Like, even if you were to act the best of the best, it's still considered loincloths and fucking like wet period rags to God. It's still considered the worst. Like your best of the best is still shit to God. Mm-hmm. I don't think you understand that. So stop trying to please him and just be thankful that you're free from the cycle. Let's say. Keep going.
God has ordained cosmic law to support the process of governing life, so that man himself becomes the judge of his own actions. By good action, he compels the law to reward him, and through evil action, he invites his own suffering.
Compels the law
What's
to
good,
what?
Nigga? What's good, nigga?
Compels
what
the law
is good?
to reward. He compels the law to reward him. This is old, but this is kind of old covenant stuff. Like obey my law, and I'll protect you. And disobey my law, and I will give you to your enemies.
He invites his own suffering.
Oh, his own suffering.
Yeah.
In Scripture,
What is
it was
good,
written
though?
that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, an insight given to propel sinful man away from doing
Yeah, specifically the Christian Lord, Yahweh.
El Shaddai.
wicked things, lest they compel even greater suffering upon themselves and others. For by evil actions we do reap what we sow. Yet it should be understood that when a person works evil, there is no great bearded man on a cloud somewhere, ready to pounce upon him and destroy him. Rather, there are principles of justice at work in the cosmos, even if that justice is not duly received in the same way that we might imagine. The cosmic laws are perfectly at work at all times, regardless. When we succumb to lesser desires, we keep our consciousness concentrated on and confined in the material world. The darkness or gross portion of cosmic creation then heavily obscures the illuminating divine presence by the shadows of delusion. When ignorant souls repeatedly indulge their erroneous ways of living, these patterns become firmly entrenched in the brain as bad habits of mortal behavior.
The real world distracts you from God, my friend.
Yeah, before you know it, you watch porn so much that when you sit down in the same chair, you can't help but think about, wanting to fucking watch porn.
Or worse, you eat enough food and you actually think you're really alive when you're supposed to transcend your food.
Yeah. Food is fuel. It's not an amusement park. I don't care what the alt-right says, how it's fucking, prepared for them. That's just picky food. Like, honestly, like we're talking about, like, with the whole goy slop crap or whatever the hell they're pushing nowadays, the whole slop meme, dude, it's just, food is fuel. It's not an amusement park. Stop being picky. Be thankful you have it. And 3 meals of it, by the way. Keep going.
And create long-standing suffering within their body of consciousness, in this life and the afterlife. During his time with Nicodemus, Jesus says, "The light has come into the world, but men loved the darkness rather than the light, because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light, and does not come into the light, for fear that his deeds will be exposed. But whoever practices the truth comes into the light, so that it may be clearly seen that what he has done has been accomplished in God." When Jesus says that men loved the darkness because their deeds were evil, he is saying that evil and selfish material habits keep most people away from connectedness with God. Those who make no effort to resist the temptation,
Or they're just hiding from God to make sure he doesn't see their evil, like in the Garden of Eden.
The God of Eden, yeah.
Despite the fact that God can see them, and it's like, God won't see me down here. Like, no, I can see you.
Yeah, I mean, did you not? You can't outsmart God. You know that, right? Oh, he's a Gnostic. He probably thinks he has good one-up. He probably thinks he can hex Allah. That's the type of person you're dealing with.
Oh yeah, in Hermeticism, cause and effect is known as the law of attraction.
Yep.
Ugh.
temptation of evil action, taking instead the easy way of rolling down the hill of bad habits, become accustomed to the darkness of ego consciousness. Because they shut out the subtle voice of Christ consciousness whispering within them, they shun the infinite abiding joy that comes from following...
Oh yeah, because no one smokes cigarettes for the nicotine. They smoke it because they want to poison themselves.
Yeah. And even then, like, are we saying what's good and what's evil in the, like, Teddy Spaghetti, Jordan Peterson, Darwinistic survival sense of the word, right? Are we talking about, well, it's bad to smoke cigarettes because it's poisoning and killing you, not because, it's a habit, or not because it's not necessary. It's an unnecessary thing that you're taking on. Is it wrong to eat food? Okay, well, so then, like, how far do we go? Like, if I eat, let's say, a really nice steak, am I considered a bad person? Am I a glutton now?
It creates attachment.
Oh, you should. So then, okay. So should I put like on my fucking steak, and that way I can't enjoy it anymore? Just accept that food is fuel.
Well, if you're one of the enlightened ones, you can appreciate the fact that you're nourishing your body better than everyone else, so you can properly live better than everyone else.
I mean, at some point, this shit gets into Bolshevik marketing. Like where instead of you just being thankful you have shoes, you want to basically have a shoe for every occasion. A shoe that is basically like a military boot. It's not very comfortable, but my God, it will last you, right?
Mm-hmm.
At what point are these guys gonna try to like say that life optimizing is a sin, right? And anything that like at what point did they go full monk mode and like min-maxing everything so they could be good? I don't know. Just keep going.
That's for the lower. That's for the plebs.
That's for the plebs.
They believe they're achieving higher nature, so that the people in charge can live off the resources they're not using anymore.
So they're basically fucking Apple users. Mac users. Yeah, the people, like, Satan uses a Unix. He does. Satan uses Unix.
Within and practicing goodness. Material temptation promises happiness from gratification of a desire, but giving in to temptation will bring misery, the annihilation of happiness. For those who follow that dark path, these habits often become so ingrained that the very thought of forsaking their wicked pleasures is rejected outright, laughing at the suggestion that self-control might be beneficial.
Yeah, well, C.S. Lewis actually explains how this works. He says,
It's fucking awesome.
Turning these sinful desires into a habit and then turning the habit into a principle that people are willing to defend. And that's how people justify sin and normalize sin in their lives.
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Keep playing it. Here we go.
Unhappy, even tormented, if denied their indulgence. And so, if it is true that so many people today are ravaged by sinful habits and indulgences,
but rather than being making yourself right with God, it's kind of like a health track. Like you eat too much, making sin like an unhealthy living. Like if I eat too much sugar, I'm going to be sick. It's not like I'm wrong with God and I have to make myself right with Him.
Yeah, well, play that back, Luke. Here you go.
Right here?
There you go. I saw it right there. No, back a bit more. We said the smiley face. Right.
These habits often become so ingrained that the very thought of forsaking their wicked pleasures is rejected outright, laughing at the suggestion that self-control...
There we go. Look, Luke, there you go. I said it to you. Take a look at that. Awesome. Fucking bass.
Put it right here.
Let's do it. Let's go.
And believing they would be unhappy, even tormented, if denied their indulgence.
Frowny face.
And so, if it is true that so many people today are ravaged by sinful habits and indulgences, what can anyone do about it? Well, Jesus...
Should we do anything about it?
Oh, wait, Lobs. What would you like us to do, Stick Man?
Said to have died for our sins, and nearly 2 billion people believe that he was the perfect sacrifice. So what does that mean? Sacrifice is a concept which relates to each of us very deeply, even if we don't realize it, because sacrifice is the act of giving up something in the present moment in order to guarantee something better in the future.
What?
That's some Jordanetics shit right there. There's a reason why I sided with Hey Spaghetti for the longest fucking time, and I still, like, tolerate some of his stupid shit. Because this, like, he called out Peterson, because now Peterson is basically opening the gap for the fucking spiritual leftists out there. Like fucking spirit science to now say, we're Christians too! You're not, you're a heretic, you're a Gnostic, go home.
Sacrifice, especially in the Christian and Jewish context, is atoning for your sin. Sin requires death, and the animal dies on your behalf.
Yep, it's like that chicken ritual in Israel, right? where they like beat the shit out of a chicken and they fucking sacrifice it and they're absolved of all sins or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that.
A common example could be sacrificing one's time working today for a paycheck tomorrow. When one fasts, they sacrifice food in order for the body to essentially eat itself, starting with the old and gunked up cells first and residual fat in the body, which actually brings greater health and longevity. For those who get married, the potential of being with a multitude of partners is sacrificed in order to guarantee one's...
That's a trade-off, not a sacrifice.
Well, he's trying to go with the whole Jordan Petersonian shtick, right?
Is that what Peterson says?
You're sacrificing your present person for today for the person you want to be tomorrow. You know, that it's that type of, oh, actually I did complete the, you know, I actually did win a Guinness World Record for trying to be the most trying to win the Guinness Book of World Record.
I mean, I have my favorite pastor has made the analogy of, because when Joel Osteen, he makes a book called Have Your Best Life Now. He says, I think I'm willing to sacrifice my best life now if I can get a piece of that best life then. Because that's a real sacrifice, giving up your sinful desires in order to be right with God.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Strong and deep relationship with another for the rest of their lives. This is why in Christianity, marriage is known as a sacrament, where sacrifice, sacrament, and sacred all share the same root, a word which ultimately means make holy, and therein make whole.
Let me check
we all
that.
Make some kind of
etymology.org or etymology. Keep playing etymology.
And therein make whole. We all make some kind of sacrifice each and every day, some greater or some lesser, and it is through the degree of our sacrifices that leads us to greater or lesser lives. Generally, the hardest sacrifices are the ones wherein we find the most attachment. According to the biblical tradition, though we had fallen into a dark and sinful path, God did not give up on us and created sacrifice as a means by which we might be restored to purity and perfection. Throughout
You're kind of missing the point there.
Sacrifice. This is from etymology.org, and based on what I could see, what did he say it was? Sacrifice and
Sacrifice,
what was it?
Sacrament and sacred.
Okay, sacrifice goes back to, where is it? Does it come from the same root words? Yes, it does. It does. Sacred rites, sacrifice, sacred rites. Sacaris, sacratorium.
Make holy and make whole.
He's correct about this. So this
Right.
is invoke etymology. We check him on this shit. Whenever he starts to redefine terms, you fucking go to the etymology fucking thing. That's how these pagans work.
sacrifice is called for, each of which designed to help humanity atone for their hardened hearts and minds. In all of them, when there were animals that needed to be sacrificed, it was always done with a perfect or unblemished creature. As it is
Or
written,
one that was
"Do not
found lying around, with the binding of Isaac, which just goes to show how little sin there actually was. And that, no, seriously, like, you could make the argument that goat, what was the sin that Abraham was gonna? What was it, Abraham? I believe. Yeah, Abraham binding of Isaac, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was no sin that was committed. So killing the ram was literally just saying, okay, and just so that you feel better and that you're not going to accuse me of falsely accusing you, let's just assume that the ram deserves to die because I said so. There you go. So even that ram was considered, it didn't commit any crime. I mean, there was no crime committed. I don't know. Keep going.
sacrifice to the Lord your God an ox or a sheep that has any defect or flaw in it, for that would be detestable to him. This is because the sacrifice of an unblemished animal represents an offering of wholeness, and that which is incomplete or flawed cannot become a sufficient or equal match for that which...
Well, also that God demands your best sacrifice because he's God and he demands it.
Yep.
I mean, I can also speculate that you're offering your best because you know God's going to provide for you. You don't need to keep your best.
Yep.
is whole and complete. But this might also be understood in another way. When giving up anything meaningful, one does not bestow that which might already be unwanted. Otherwise, it would also not be a suitable sacrifice. When we give up something dear to us, something that is functional and has a clear purpose, the gravity of that act is much greater. Imagine, if a shepherd has to put something to death, like the best of their livestock, they are going to take that offering far more seriously than if they were to sacrifice something they saw as weak and useless.
Black
It is
sheep.
only with this context that we now can conceptualize what it might mean that Jesus was the perfect sacrifice, and the unblemished
Which,
lamb,
by the way,
as well as why...
By the way, it should be noted that when I was giving things up for Lent, let's say, as a Catholic, they often said, don't try to go on the diet. Don't try to give up something that you know is bad. Like, don't give up drinking. You're not supposed to, like, yeah, you should give up drinking, obviously. But let's say you're not an alcoholic. Let's say you have a beer once a day. Or once a week. Hell, fuck, let's suppose you only have wine once a week at, let's say, the Bible study with your frickin', wino girlfriends or whatever the fuck it might be, right? This is for the ladies out there, by the way. You might enjoy it. You might enjoy it very much. But at the end of the day, it's because you enjoy it and because it's something that you personally like to participate in. That's why it's considered good to give up for Lent. It's not that you're trying to give up bad habits, although you should. It's stuff that you normally that are not bad habits that you generally do. Whether it be, you want to give up eating, meat. You might enjoy eating meat, but giving up eating meat for Lent is fine.
And keep in mind,
makes sense.
Jesus fasted for 40 days, which means he had almost nothing.
Yeah. Water, essentially.
Yeah.
Because he's in the desert. Because why the hell wouldn't you? Keep
that
going.
the sacrifice is believed to have been necessary. He is called the unblemished lamb because he was a human being perfectly integrated with God, the Supreme Spirit, and thus reflecting the...
Specifically Yahweh.
Can you define what you mean by integrated, please?
fullness of the love, truth, wisdom, and light of the Godhead. He is also considered the final sacrifice, because after the death of Christ, it was believed that animal sacrifice was no longer necessary, and this was because the death and resurrection of Jesus had created a pathway of transcendence within the human consciousness.
What?
Yeah.
And changed our hearts forever. The act of non-resistance towards his own death demonstrated to humanity a depth of compassion that we had never seen before. and his resurrection showed that with God, anything is possible. But there's one major stick in this whole thing that must be addressed. Despite everything that we've discussed, humanity today is still very sinful. In fact, considering that we entered into the Dark Ages only a few hundred years after the death of Christ, an era of unenlightened thinking for most of Christendom for about 1,000 years.
Okay, fuck you. No. He's gonna play the Dark Age card. Fuck that shit.
Wait a second. Is this the millennium he's arguing for?
Well, that could very well be. Again, he says it's almost 1,000 years, so he's fudging the numbers here and there. And even then, the Dark Ages. What about Byzantium? What about Charlemagne? Was Charlemagne a thing? We can talk about that. Like, the Dark Ages are just a fucking historical term. They don't mean anything.
Some might argue that humanity got worse after Jesus died, not better. Today,
compared to what? The Roman Empire, the Roman Empire was really a great place. It was brutal. It was like the embodiment of what the feminists refer to as toxic masculinity.
It was California in a lot of ways.
No, the men were too masculine for California.
They were just right. They were surfer bros. Let's say they had their togas and everything.
Yeah, surfer bros are probably too hippie compared to Romans.
I don't know.
Selfishness, greed.
I mean, remember the joke about Julius Caesar? He was every woman's husband and every man's wife.
Oh, I have never heard that one.
I forget what Caesar it is, but I have to look that up.
And pollution of thought and cruelty still run rampant in varying degrees across the world. And this is something we should all come to terms with. In regards to Jesus dying for our sins, it would be foolish for us to presume that anyone, even Jesus...
Got your sin? Give it back? What? What is this?
This is how he sees the world.
Could take away sin unless the sinner himself cooperates in the removal process.
Can you help? Sure, but here we go. So Jesus asked for our permission to save us.
Well, we need permission from him to save us.
As a Calvinist, I'm gonna have a problem with this.
Well, there you go.
If Jesus had taken away everyone's sins by dying and resurrecting, wouldn't the world be in a state of perfect paradise today? And likewise, if believing in Jesus were all that were required, then all
He died for our sin. He doesn't take away your sins.
Your sins will always be there.
I mean, the New Testament. Well, he only has a few minutes left, so maybe he can get to some point about this, or maybe he's saving it for part 3.
There probably is going to be a part 3.
Christians for all time would be perfected beings. We must understand that Jesus becomes an instrument of transformation for people who seek him or redemption in some way, or are touched by his spirit. But if someone is closed off from receiving him, they will not receive his blessing. And if someone believes in him half-heartedly, or doesn't explore to the greatest of depth the words and teachings that he brought forth, they also will only carry with them a superficial understanding of Christ consciousness.
Wait, Did you see that? I kind of believe in you, but never read your words, but save me? And Jesus says, I can help a bit. But he's right there. How does this analogy work?
It doesn't, Luke. It doesn't.
But in truth, Jesus' sacrifice was primarily to exemplify, for all time, the power of spiritual force over ignorance and brute force. He showed that the...
Fulfilling Jewish prophecy. The Israeli prophecy brought to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's what he was for.
Yeah, no, he was there to unlock the consciousness. Carl Jung, who has a degree, says so.
Power of love could conquer the Roman Empire, which, with all of its might, could not suppress his philosophy. His reign has outlasted that of all warrior conquerors, based on the divine edict, love your enemies. Further, in all spiritual disciplines...
Which stems from love your God. You have to know what that means.
Across the world, masters can take upon themselves some of the burden of a disciple if that devotee makes a worthwhile spiritual effort to improve himself.
Okay, so he is making a distinction from the Eastern traditions.
But most of all, spiritual masters serve in the highest way by example and...
Why is Jesus on par with Ra?
That's not Ra, that's thought. That's a thought, Luke.
That's Thoth? Thought? What, really?
That's Thoth.
Oh,
yeah.
No. The god of magic, the Hermetic god, the god of magic?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
The same.
Teachings that inspire the errant children of God to free themselves from their bad habits and spiritual negligence. Because of this, we each have to come to terms with the fact that our own effort plays a big part in the results of our purification process. As a savior, Jesus brings salvation into
regeneration, justification, sanctification, glorification. The one that we are mostly in charge of is our sanctification, but even then God has to regenerate us and sanctify us. We need that.
Yep.
Oh no. Yeah, regeneration, sanctification, justification. Yeah, sanctification, justification. Oh no. Sorry, I gotta write this down later.
2 dimensions, personally and universally. Personally, he bestows qualitative or liberating blessings and grace on his contemporary disciples and on those of all succeeding generations who look to him for salvation. But he also came to fulfill a universal understanding of the qualitative good, establishing a moral and spiritual standard for all mankind by calling sinners to repentance.
That's actually true.
That is true, yes.
He mixed with those people most in need of healing from sin to demonstrate, by way of example, his quantitative ministry to the masses, to show the transforming power of righteousness that brings response from the forgiving heart of God. Now, with all of that said,
I always have mixed feelings about saying what would Jesus do, because Jesus could actually minister to the poor and the downtrodden effectively.
Yeah, there are certain things we cannot do.
Not to mention bringing people back from the dead.
Yeah, I can't res people.
Question that sometimes arises in this dialogue is, what about people who are good people but have never heard of Jesus or follow some other teacher? Will they be condemned because they don't believe in him? It should be known that spiritually virtuous people act properly and ideally in the very...
Well, keep in mind, the Bible doesn't say what happens to people who've never heard of Jesus, but it does say what happens who've rejected Jesus.
Yep.
Situations in life, in harmony with the laws of righteousness. They move along the path towards redemption through their right actions, performed at the inner prompting of conscience, rewarded by a silent satisfaction from their soul. Righteous people need little or no corrective discipline, because their innate spiritual sense keeps them on the right path and prevents them from wandering into the temptation of ignorance. This is even why Jesus said that he came for the sinners specifically. Further, if a sinner, of their own accord, comes to repentance, even without hearing or knowing about Jesus, it's the same Spirit that will help deliver them to a higher understanding and a better life. At the end of the day, what it's really about is understanding who and what he embodied, the Spirit of God. That Spirit is omnipresent and found in all things, even if obscured by the darkness of illusion. And within each of us...
Well, I mean, Jesus is distinct from the Holy Spirit. He is going to notice that, right? Or does that not matter?
He hasn't even gotten into the Holy Spirit yet, dude. It's
We're
part
to go
2.
within and
if he ever does.
Not stop seeking through the chaos of illusions within our own minds and hearts, we would find ourselves connected and one with the same Spirit which moved through Jesus so fully. And that Spirit can do absolutely anything.
Yep, part 3 coming up, folks.
Part 3 coming up. Let's see what else we got here. How long have we been going? Started at 8. It's almost an hour. Let's keep moving.
He's intermixing bad stuff and good stuff, and so it's hard to tell where he's going to lead this to.
Yep. Let's do a palate cleanse before we continue. You know about the King Kong game that came out recently, Luke?
I've never heard of it, no.
Here you go. Take a look at that.
What is this?
This is some of the worst. This actually was put out there.
What is this?
There are stories of gods told by fanatics. Stories of kings told by the oppressed. And fantasy stories told by the gullible. However, the stories of this age-old island are passed on from generation to generation by those willing to tell a much bigger tale. The stories of the beasts and their king. The story of Kong.
This is supposedly like the worst. Like, this actually was put out and was sold on Steam.
Oh, so is it like a professional game?
It's professional. Let's
a AAA game.
It was
or
published.
what?
It was published.
It was not long ago when the Kong species began to disappear. The battles among the island's beasts have existed long before anyone could even recall them.
So is that muffle the actual recording, or is it supposed to be for effect?
No, it's the actual recording.
So they're not like sound like an audio recorder. It's not like supposed to be like hidden documentation.
No, it's meant to be. This is the actual stuff that's being used. It's putting out to print in 2023. It's not like a CDI game.
The survival of the Kongs against larger and more ferocious creatures was no longer guaranteed as generations passed. The story I will tell you starts at a time of danger and uncertainty for the last remaining Kong family.
I mean, I like story-oriented video games, but there comes a point where you're just running on for too long.
She kind of is, isn't she?
I mean, show me something. I know exposition's very useful, but show me something, please.
Yeah.
Raising a child, especially protecting him from the violent beasts, was hard work, and the ever-present threats of the island eventually took their toll on this decimated family. Night storms are a bad omen in times of crisis.
That is what it looks like.
Oh, so it's a more cartoonish aesthetic? You're not going for realism, or...
When I first saw this, I'm like, this looks like the animatronics for fucking King Kong. Like it really does. Like the actual 1930s, 1920s King Kong, right?
Let's see.
And the Kongs knew it well. The father and the son had yet to return from hunting. The mother, fearing the worst, decided to venture out in search of her family.
This
is Miss Kong.
This is Miss Kong. But look at how just look at it. This was put out, and it sounds like this, and the way it looks. Just keep going.
I mean, I already see like links on the side. They're calling this worse than Gollum.
Yeah. But here's the thing that's interesting. They actually are putting stuff out that people want to like. They put stuff out like this. People bitch about it, right? Like how much was the budget? That's what I want to know.
I mean, if it was relatively cheap, then good job.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Oh, do we see gameplay with this?
Yeah, no, we don't. Fucking.
It feels like somewhere between the original, like the early versions of mainframe animation and the next generation of mainframe animation. Like somewhere between Beast Wars, the first season, and the
Beast Wars. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like Optimus fucking Prime.
Primal.
Or Primal. Yeah, because it's the fucking alternate timeline, right? Look at that.
Yeah, this feels like a entry level animation class. They don't understand. They don't understand gravity or weight.
Yeah,
but of course that is very hard to translate that into a computer.
Hey, Spaghetti endorsed game. Yes, it is. This would be something that I would expect Spaghetti to put on his fucking page. I worked as a director on King Kong.
What?
That's what he would be. That's what Taste Game would be like. And it does look like his fucking shit game too. You know.
Well, at least the characters have a lot of expression in their face. That's actually pretty impressive.
Well, that's what made me think to myself, "Oh, this looks exactly like exactly like a freaking 1920s King Kong like clay animation. It looks that way.
Well, the clay animations were more stoic. They didn't have this level of expression.
Ugh. Run, monkey, run. Run, monkey, run.
Why is King Kong so small? Why are the Kong so small compared to the dinosaur?
Well, yeah, that's another thing that's such a weird thing that even my dad has brought this up before. Like, they don't know how to actually make a proper proportion King Kong. Like, he's supposed to be like this giant fucking ape, right? That like the native population puts up a giant fence around themselves so they can have their own place and like be protected from monsters and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when he gets out into freaking Manhattan, he's like super small compared to the rest of the world. I mean, in another movie, he's fighting Godzilla, right? So like, how big is he? And like he's he only big when it's convenient for him? Like he's as big as the plot will let him be?
Huh.
Yeah, it's a big problem with King Kong. He has a big problem with consistency in that regard. And look at that frickin' trail.
The last survivors of the Kongs had perished against the fury of God, except for a small infant. Call it luck, will, or destiny. The last
or bad writing.
had survived thanks to his parents' sacrifice and his own perseverance.
Aw, little monkey. I think this is Andrew Tate's origin story.
So it's Xbox game.
It's an Xbox game, and this is this is PS2 graphics, dude.
Yeah.
Look at this shit.
Yeah, we're regressing severely in graphics.
And a lot of this is because people want to outsource stuff. They don't want to actually pay people what they're actually worth, actual animators, and actually take on and pay your workforce.
Who made this thing?
We're gonna move on from it, by the way.
By Game Mill Entertainment on Devoto Artworks King Kong novels. Oh, the game was originally announced on July 20th, 2023 after being leaked a day earlier. It was released in October. Who made this?
I also think it was the launder money, maybe. I don't know.
Iguana B. What are they known for? Skull, Mr. Deadline, Scintilla, Monster Bag, G.I. Joe Operation Blackout.
which sounds like shovelware if I ever fucking heard it.
And Head Scratchers, whatever that is.
Probably like a trivia game. Oh, boo.
He could not fight without surviving first, and for years he could not do anything but grow in the middle of the island's danger. Kong was alone now.
There you go, Luke. We're
Yeah,
not talking
this is
about.
very much an interactive movie.
It is, and at the same time, here this is what happens when the Kong population goes unchecked.
Oh, Putin.
Putin. Yep.
The Russian regime is personalist, with varying overlaps of military, economic, and bureaucratic factions, with Vladimir Putin as a nexus mediating figure. This is an occupationally diverse oligarchy with its well-documented conservatism and brutality, which raises an interesting question. Are Russian elites, and Putin especially, ideological or cynical in their operations? Many point out
that guy's dead, though.
He's dead. That guy's dead. Shy guy over there, Shaigu. And all these other guys just, I don't know. I kind of find it hilarious how Shy Guy Goo is right, like, on the other side of freaking Prigozhin, which, by the way, apparently Prigozhin, there's, like, some, like, miracles, apparently, going on in Moscow where, like, pictures of Prigozhin are crying. And we already know how corrupt the fucking, the church is of Russia. Keep playing it, Luke. I'll find it.
Ivan Ilkin or Alexander Dugin and their supposed influences on the Kremlin. Still, others note the chameleon-like politics.
Look at that. Red Alert 4, right there. That's Red Alert 4. We got Yuri, we got the man yelling at the clouds, and we have, you know, the player who's like, Jesus Christ, I just want to fucking play a game. Why'd they bring politics into this?
Is it done, Yuri? No, comrade, for that Putin. It's only begun.
Yeah.
Throughout Putin's reign. To provide an answer, we will give an overview of the biggest far-right ideologies in Russia, and then discuss the elite's engagement with them, with a special note on Putin himself.
Far-right doesn't mean anything, folks.
This video
like,
will help provide.
It's just a buzzword. It's a pay attention, class. This is important. It's a dog whistle for their teachers. That's all it is.
Us insight into the reasons behind the unprovoked Russian invasion of Ukraine, and perhaps into how the Russian elite generally operates. So, does the Kremlin have an ideology? And if so, which ideology is it? Before we begin, we must make a couple of disclaimers. One is that this analysis only applies to the Kremlin. While some institutions like Orthodoxy influence part of the Russian population, a big portion of the average Russian population is either disturbed by or passively opposed to the war, and more preoccupied with surviving a repressive regime in a sanctions-ridden economy than obscure fascist figures. Secondly, we will discuss some far-right ecosystems, their visions of Russia, and their representatives. This is not an exhaustive list, and we must always remember these are overlapping ecosystems. With that in mind, we will today discuss the following far-right ecosystems: National Bolshevism, Eurasianism, Orthodox fundamentalism, and white supremacy, classical fascism in Russia. National Bolshevism is a bizarre ideology to outsiders, but essentially is an array of far-right modes of thought which synthesize Stalinist ideas with ultranationalism. This ideology is close to Alexander Dugin's ideas, but he is much more of a Eurasianist. So
I hate to be the guy who says this, but they were part of this. They were cut from the same cloth. They were literally cut from the same cloth. You know that, right? Like Dugin was part of the National Bolshevik Party. Right. And then there was a splinter group, and they went on, did their own thing, and he went on to found his Eurasian party. So that's the first thing you have to understand. It's similar because they are cut from the same cloth. You know, if anything, you could make the argument that, you know, Stalin was more of a nationalist as opposed to Trotsky, who is an internationalist. Same concept. The difference here is this guy basically is the Stalin of them. Keep going.
This ideology is a sort of red-brown, not to be confused with the false horseshoe theory of politics, synthesis which emerged in the 1980s, combining totalitarian rhetoric and Soviet nostalgia with nationalism. National Bolsheviks were led by Eduard Limonov and Alexander Plekhanov, the latter of whom merged the USSR with Russian nationalism and absorbed the legacy of the successes of the USSR as a purely legacy.
Fucking Johnny Silverhand, Russian Johnny Silverhand's there. There he is. Keep going.
This ideology has many facets, with more classical ultranationalist ideals to others with more emphasis on Soviet nostalgia. Some even go as far as to sanctify a certain Georgian known as Joseph Stalin and produce an occult philosophy around him. Some of these were independently present in the anti-Maidan protests and
an occult philosophy around Joseph Stalin. Okay. If you want to, like, you know, there are people who worship mass murderers and shit, right? Why not worship a big mass murderer like Jojo Stalin? Right? Fuck.
Russian actions in eastern Ukraine in 2014 as a way to reform a Soviet-Russian empire. This ecosystem, according to Marlene Merlin-Ruel, is fond of the totalitarian nature of the Soviet regime and its ideological control of the population. In this ideology, the USSR is incorrectly seen as a continuation of Russian history, and as such, something to be emulated. Besides that, there is little coherence in its goals, besides a blend of fascism and Stalinism and general irredentism. We now move on to Eurasianism, an anti-Western philosophy rooted in the 1920s and 1930s. Many thinkers of diverse modes exist, such as Lev Gumilyov, who has ideas of primordial ethnicities forged by ecology and of the concept of passionarity, a sort of will to power of nations to forge themselves. Eurasianism sees an affinity between Russia, supposedly anti-colonial in its outlook, and the Orient, emphasizing Turkic or even Islamic elements in Russian culture and outlook.
What?
Yeah.
Between
there's a
Grecian
reason.
civilization, Mongolic civilizations,
Mongolic. Yeah, they're actually calling themselves Mongolic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Dugin himself is a Eurasianist with a unique spin. Dugin is a perennialist arch-conservative who has a very geopolitically oriented view of Eurasianism. He prioritizes orthodoxy as a mode of Russian identity, but also supports more Islamic, Buddhist, and even neo-pagan viewpoints of a multinational Russia. He is also a massive war hawk who would do great in any White House administration for his neoconservative views. He sees the USSR.
Oh, he's a neoconservative now, is he?
Uh-huh.
Well, in a lot of ways, he kind of is, isn't he?
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, like, if we're going to play the, we want Russia to be strong, well, I want America to be strong. Fuck off, Dugin. Like, legitimately. But I'm glad the shit's actually being out there now. You know, we were ahead of the curve, and now everyone's talking about him. Now, and it's eventually going to get to the point where, you know, once the SJWs side with us, we win, you know? Anyhow, let's keep going.
Western imposition and generally despises the West, as seen in his writings on pro-Western opposition figures in Russia. However, the USSR's collapse for him is a great tragedy, and his book, Foundation of Geopolitics, has a vision of strategic alliances with Japan in opposition to the US and China, and the expansion
Another fucking very valuable asset that we have.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm glad I picked up that book.
Well, now it seems like everyone's now talking about it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've been talking about this since I found out about it from frickin' Lucian, you know? Since he told me about this shit, and I even had him on, I'm like, dude, this shit is something that could unite United States together. We literally could be united against the fucking crazy Soviet baby boomer and his fucking, you know, hobo who they gave an arts degree to. You know? Fucking trying to redraw the map and playing Risk, like as fucking Lauren Southern would say. Fucker's playing Risk. He kind of is. Keep going.
Borders across what he sees as a Eurasian civilizational space. A formation of this can be said to be the Eurasian Union, as envisioned by the Russian leadership, which tried to compete with the European Union for influence over Ukraine. However, this is more of a geopolitical vision with economic ideas and less ideological underpinnings. The third ecosystem is that of Orthodox fundamentalism and is more classically ultra-conservative than Tsarist. This ecosystem includes the Russian Orthodox Church, with Patriarch Kirill and Metropolitan Tikhon rumored to be Pope's confessor as seminal figures.
Metrosexual Krill, or Kuhan, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Kirill.
Yeah, I do not like this guy. Like, people are scared of the Pope. This guy scares the shit out of me. Like, he's actually a KGB asset too. He's actually ex-KGB. So you have the holiest of holy, the Holy Father, the Patriarch, right? He's former KGB. Now, I understand why people in like Russia and even parts of the West, hearing that, you would be an atheist, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to be, like, you confess your sins. I don't know, I'm not entirely certain if the Orthodox have a confession. I think they do. You confess your sins, you could be confessing it to a fucking spy. Or for someone who's working for the secret police. You know, it's the perfect fucking crime, isn't it? Keep going.
Include Nikolai Berdyov, who was paradoxically a very individualist existential theologian, but whose anti-Bolshevik reaction inspired many nostalgics of white Russia. The Church tries to propagate this vision through social programs and educational initiatives, but also has a geopolitical and theological spin. The Orthodox vision is that of Holy Rus, essentially that the Russian people have a special relationship with God, with the territory of Ukraine as a cradle of that connection. As such, Russia is an Orthodox civilization with believers and canonical lands run by the Church beyond Russia's borders, according to the analysis by the researchers Andy Suvlov. People like Kirill use this integrative space to claim patriarchal control over Russian-speaking Orthodox communities in the Baltics, Belarus,
Patriarchy
Ukraine,
is going to become... The patriarchy is going to become synonymous with Russia. You watch. You fucking watch. It will become synonymous with it because they will fucking own it. I guarantee you. And the problem here is that the patriarchy they're talking about is more of do as I say because I have a title that's above you. Not because I actually am going to explain to you and I actually show you the reasoning behind it. No, just do it. And then if you call them out legally, like, oh, well, if you call them out, they'll lie until you show them the evidence, like with his whole watch. Remember the watch, Luke, with Patriarch Krill? Yeah. These people are evil. And like, there's a reason why I've been talking about this shit. It's because these type of people are trying to gain power in the world. And you actually have a fucking KGB corrupt motherfucker in the basically the Holy of the Holies. You know, in the fucking church. This is like some fucking spy novel shit. Keep going.
In places like Georgia, the anti-communism inherent in the system is apparent, though Kirill will both praise Stalin's defense of Russia in the Second World War and condemn his crimes against the Orthodox during the Great Terror. It also conveniently enables the Church to regain its role in Russian society and its money across the post-Soviet space. This is an Orthodox reactionary vision, with some small groups supporting it with monarchist restoration tendencies, such as the Russian billionaire and the owner of the reactionary Tsargard TV,
Sargon, Soviet Sargon, right there. He's no longer Olive Garden waiter. He's now a fucking CFO, a regional manager. Look at that. He's gone up in the world. He now owns chains of Olive Gardens, yeah.
This conservative vision of the world is a form of the reassertion of the pre-Bolshevik white Russian identities in Russian public life, though with limited success. The last and perhaps most diverse of the ecosystems is Russian nationalism, which can take many forms, but puts primacy on ethnic Russian identity. These are the children of the proto-fascist and anti-Semitic Black Hundreds, and can range from white Russian supporters and nostalgics of Anton Denikin to more contemporary pan-European white supremacists. Of the older generation, the most well-known figure is Ivan Ilyin, who was an immigrant from Russia in the 1920s and showed sympathy for Hitler and Mussolini even after the Second World War. Ilyin's thought is both theistic and conservative, showing great deference to legalistic authority. He was also afflicted by what Lenin would call Great Russian Chauvinism, seeing Ukraine as nothing more than Russia, which hasn't accepted her true identity.
So he literally is Yuri from fucking from Red Alert 2.
He looks just like him.
Like, we are getting to the point where, like, the world is becoming more and more mimetic just by its very nature, that we're getting to that point where Chris Chan might be right. There is a fucking, actual legitimate, dimension merge. And it's not only going to be the dimension merge that he's talking about. It's more of like that old meme on the internet. The internet is leaking. Remember that? Yeah. That's what I think it is. But, like, here's an example of, like, the abuse of the Russian church. Here you go, Luke. I sent this to you right there.
What's this? Oh yeah, what is this?
This.
Twitter. What is this? Oh.
It's an actual icon of Prigozhin allegedly crying. The fact that Prigozhin is a Jew and a terrorist doesn't prevent him from being an icon. So he's not actually a follower of Christ, right? So if he's a follower of Judaism, right? Which I think that makes sense. I could see him as a Jew, a follower of Judaism. I could see that. Apparently, Prigozhin is a follower of Judaism, according to this post.
Okay, so how can he be a patron saint?
Well, because it's propaganda, you see.
Right.
Like, how can Dugan be part of the fucking be part of the church when he's a fucking Gnostic, a goddamn heretic, dude? There's a reason why I call him out. By calling him out, I'm basically, basically saying it's either Dugan or the fucking infrastructure. Now kill the fucking pagan. That's what I'm doing. But it's not just that. It's not just that, Luke. I sent you another link. It was sent earlier.
What's this?
This is from the news. This is something that was sent the other day.
Oh wait, that's the other one. What's this?
This.
Oh, this one. Oh, the one with the door.
The one with the door. Yeah.
Let's see, the activists who drew a pentagram on the door of so-called Ivasikedia military correspondent were arrested 2 months ago. A Russian Telegram channel linked to law enforcement writes that Vladislav Renov and was to receive 5 orders from Ukraine to intimidate Russian propagandists. They are charged with the articles of vandalism, death threats, and obstruction of legitimate professional activities of journalism.
Yep.
Oh, is this? Wow, that's actually pretty elaborate.
Yeah. So like, they will accuse you of anything that they are taking part of. They're literally trying, like they will literally use the right hand of God and the left hand of God, and they'll go after you. They don't care about consistency. They will play that we are better than you, we are holier than thou, we have a purpose, you do not, and that's their whole game. That's their whole shtick.
Oh,
you know,
in our feed right now, what's trending on Twitter is hashtag Gaza genocide and hashtag anti-Semitism. They're both happening at the same time.
Oh boy.
And then a hashtag ceasefire now.
Here's one for you. 50 influential Jews. Yevgeny Prigozhin, postscript. Apparently he was Jewish.
Oh, how about that?
He with the help of his Jewish stepfather.
After serving, where is this guy's name? After serving almost a decade in the prison of thief, Prigozhin, though a Jewish stepfather, turned a hot dog stand into an upscale restaurant empire and became known as Putin's chief. Oh, Putin's chef.
Here's another one for you. Fucker was actually of Jewish descent.
Oh, how about that? Was Jewish descent.
Yes, he was. Jewish Chronicle.
So Putin wasn't anti-Semitic, or what's the deal?
Well, I guess the deal is Putin wasn't anti-Semitic, but he was very much inclusive when it comes to who gets to become become an icon in the Orthodox Church. Because I'll tell you this is heresy right here. This fucking crying, which by the way looks like it looks like a fucking horror film of it crying. Like it looks like something from the Event Horizon. The film, not the fucking actual place. Anyhow, it looks like it. It looks like something fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it's scary.
So let's see. Ex-members of the Wagner CWC, the Christian Western Chandler. I don't know why they're calling it that themselves. They're hanging out. Maybe they want to bring on the Dimensional Verge as well, so they can make anime real. I don't know. Anyhow, Luke, any final thoughts? We're gonna wrap it up here.
Oh, what can I wrap this up with?
Who the hell is Monkey D. Luffy?
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing but dark times coming up, folks, because be optimistic and hold on to the Lord, because that is our only hope.
Yep, and take care of one another. Remember, saving the West is a side quest. This is the Digital Renegade podcast.